thank you, Artanicus, for joining me on my coffee break. I have a Starbucks Frappuccino that you can get in the glass things at corner stores and stuff. I'm sure you've seen them around.
Don't really have a Starbucks here, but I kind of figured roughly of what you got because of my cafe here has a similar sort of deal.
You having your first coffee of the day at the moment?
Yep. Yeah, just some nicely brewed stuff from home. Nothing too crazy, just some nice cafe blend 45. Got a bit of full cream milk in it, a couple of teaspoons of sugar. Something to help kick off the day.
As people who come to my channel regularly know, you're my go-to Fallout guy. So today we're probably going to be talking about Fallout.
Easy enough.
I recently shared with you the list of unique characters that they did for the Fallout Commander MTG cards. Did any of them stand out as surprising you at all?
Couple did actually.
Who?
Considering I didn't really think that they were going to be doing the various companions from our original talk before. So I was a little surprised to see a couple in here.
What is a Fallout companion?
Throughout the whole Fallout series, you wind up meeting certain individuals that you can hire to join you on your adventure through, depending on which game, the companion would be based on your reputation. Like, for an example, let's see, where's a good one that's a good example of that? Craig Boone, for example, the Novak God. He's from out of New Vegas. And depending on whether or not you were helping out the NCR or the Legion, would depend on whether or not he would join you on your adventure or not. Since if you were helping out the NCR, he'd join you. If you're working for the Legion, he'd spit in your face and be more than willing to shoot you from out of the dinosaur's mouth.
Did you recruit him?
Yeah. Both on my good playthrough and my evil playthrough. On my evil playthrough, I fed him to a bunch of cannibals.
Wait, what?
Yeah, New Vegas. There's on the Strip. There's a one of the families, so to speak, that works under Mr. House is a bunch of cannibals. The deal with Mr. House was, you do not eat any more people, sort of thing, which they agreed to. But one of their ranks has decided to try and bring back in the old habit. When you go to investigate this particular tribal family, you get a chance to either move them back towards Mr. House's way of not eating people, or you can let them go back to their old way of letting them eat people. The two main ones. The third is just basically obliterate them off the face of the map. So you go through the thing, you find the person that they've got kidnapped that they plan to sacrifice, and at that point you get to choose to make a human meat substitute out of beef, sort of thing, and serve that off, and discredit the guy that's trying to bring back the old ways. Now, option 2 is you go ahead and kill one of your companions and serve them up, sort of thing, and reinitiate them back to the old ways, sort of deal. The third option is you just tell Mr. House, you go back and you just kill everyone.
I'm guessing since that's Mr. House, that's either New Vegas or 4?
That's New Vegas.
He is one of the major players in that game, isn't he?
He's one of the main factions, yes. He's the guy that runs New Vegas. He's a pre-war survivor because prior to the bombs dropping, he basically put himself into a Matrix situation of suspended animation while having his brain hooked up to a computer that controlled all his robots.
Isn't New Vegas set like 100 or 200 or 300 years after the bombs fell?
About 180 years.
So this guy has kept himself alive on life support for 180 plus years.
Yep. Like I said, he did the whole Matrix sort of thing of suspended animation. He's kept himself alive, kept his brain active by having it hooked up to his computer instead of just freezing himself. Like the Sole Survivor did in Vault 111.
Is he a good person? Is he a good human being?
He's a businessman. And as such, he sees everything as bottom dollar. He doesn't give a care if people live or die, so long as he stays in power and he makes the required money of his former days, sort of thing. So I'd say more neutral than good or evil, since he's not purposely going out there just killing people for shits and giggles like raiders would. Or is he trying to help his fellow man and raise him up better like the NCR and the like would?
I'm guessing he has a lot of robotic servants because his MTG card, if you roll high on a die, you create a robot and money.
Yeah. That's because within New Vegas, there's a bunch of Securitrons, which are these robots that are on one single tire. In fact, you meet one of them early on that's a bit of a rogue one. He's a unique one with a cowboy image on his TV display. And as such, these robots were basically just standard old security robots. They'd go around, keep the peace. It wasn't until after you bring the platinum chip to Mr. House, and then he tells you to go place this in a very specific bunker, then initiate the upgrade procedure to his robots that lets them use their grenade launchers and missile launchers, basically. The more heavier artillery, instead of the submachine guns that they got. In fact, Yes Man, which is one of those cards that's way the hell down, is one of those security bots, the Securitrons. Unfortunately, this particular one got kidnapped by Benny and reprogrammed to try and help infiltrate Mr. House in Fallout New Vegas.
You said there was a few cards from 1 and 2. I know the Master's from 1. Is the Master the only one from 1? And who's from Fallout 2?
No worries. Another one from Fallout 1 is actually Eradish, the founder. He was actually the first president of the NCR. Since within Fallout 1, you meet the guy, you help him. He's the leader of Shady Sands, and you meet him to help him try and set up relations and that. And he's the founder of the NCR, being the very first president because of it all. After the fact, within Fallout 2, Iron there is actually one of the companions that you can acquire from out of the Crimson Caravan Guard. Well, the Crimson Caravan, that is. There's a handful of various ones, like Harold and Bob. The card there is actually from Fallout 3. But you've met Harold before, since him and the Master actually worked together prior to them becoming changed from the FEV.
FEV, NCR, I have no. I know what none of that means.
The FEE is a virus that was made by the scientists pre-war. It's known as the forced evolutionary virus. It was originally designed as a weapon, but since it didn't work out as intended, but had a bit of a different side effect, the Voltec and the government, prior to them becoming the Enclave, decided to have fun with it and did a bunch of human trials, seeing what would result. As such, that's where a number of super mutants came from and the like. Even after the bombs dropped, they still tinkered with it and tried to see if they could get the desired results. And the Master and Harold both fell into vats of the stuff. Well, the Master fell into a vat of the stuff. Harold got some of the stuff dropped onto him. Within Mariposa, I think the place is called, where Mason was stationed as a guard pre-war, prior to taking a whole bunch of soldiers and taking over Vault Zero, I think it was, forming the Brotherhood of Steel.
Whether this tree is sentient or not, one of the Fallout DLCs involves a tree, doesn't it? With a cult around it?
The only one I could think of is Harold, because he does have a cult around him, but that's not a DLC, that's within Fallout 3 itself. Because Harold was transformed into a ghoul, but he had a plant growing out of his head, and that plant he called Bob. And Bob finally grew to being a full-grown tree, encasing Harold within it, except for his head, more or less. Where Harold goes, "Put me out my damn misery," sort of deal.
Might not have been a DLC. You might have just been talking about Harold and Bob, because you have the option of what to do with that, right? You can either kill Bob or not. What are the options with that? You can kill Bob is one of them, I know that.
Yeah. You can either do as Bob asks and kill him, but when you go down into a tunnel system and find his heart. The second is to relieve some of the strain on him from Bob by applying a certain cream that you get off one of the two leaders of this crazy druid cult, which causes Bob to not send out spores, causing more trees to grow around quite as often. And the third is to accelerate that process from the other leader of the faction with another from some sort of drug that they give you.
I'm sorry that I thought Harold and Bob were part of a DLC.
It's all good. After all, there's plenty of weird stuff in the DLCs. It's easy to see him as one of them.
Thank you for talking Fallout with me again. I won't interrupt you this time.
It's all good. And with your question before with Fallout 2, Agent Frank there, which is one of those first cards on the list, is actually out of Fallout 2 as well.